do you want truth above all else, or are you using a fractal of a teaching that you found in order to satisfy your personal agendas anyway? Right? Like what's the true honesty here? Does someone actually want, because what you've got to see as well, if someone's like really going for abundance, is the most abundant thing you'll ever find is yourself. Like step one, the most richness of the consciousness, if you're ever in the presence of someone that has nothing, if they are full of self with a capital S, they radiate wealth consciousness, everything you're looking for in these kind of empty objects. Like it's a byproduct. It has to always be a byproduct of what you've chosen in truth. Like put your flag down in yourself and then things attract to it. Don't go around with your flag not knowing who you are and try, like you see how people are so sometimes unstable. And when I was starting off, I would see abundance things and kind of, trying that same thing, sort of uproot yourself, abandon yourself in order to get it. The greatest lesson ever is actually getting it with the instability yourself and then realizing, well, I don't feel any different. So then it's always straight back to the self.
Beautiful. That's exactly what it meant. So I love that you can translate it in a way that could reach somebody else that perhaps resonates more with your language.
Mm.
Because it's like, we're like, yeah, it's coming true. I am that Nisargadatta Mahara. That's what it is. Everything it's you. So people, the flag thing, it's like people, it's like, I am my Ferrari. I am my hot wife. I am my bank account. I am my whatever. And everything is a symbol of this is me. The apartments they get, everything. It's like, oh, I am this now. This is a reflection of who I am in an apartment, in a car, in my romantic partner, in this. Everything it's you. So you're getting to know yourself through symbols. But if you truly know yourself, then symbols are just like puppets, not pop. Well, that sounds kind of mean. I don't like puppeteers with people. You have free will. Everybody can choose. But yeah, everything becomes like a prop. I'm like, oh, everything is a prop. Fun. But I am who I am by myself without the prop. You can just take off the hat. Doesn't change who I am. The hat just enhances how I feel about myself.
Mm. Beautiful. The language is funny.
Yeah.
The energy is exactly the same, and it kind of translates. Like the word translation is so interesting because the frequency of self-sovereignty is known instantly. How we describe that, how we kind of paint it into a picture of what that means for us will be based on our experiences of going out, finding what it means to abandon yourself. It's like we can always just make this path so simple. This is the only path for this density I find is the temptation of the world is there to abandon yourself, to conform to something that basically externalizes your savior. This is the whole thing of religion, is the externalization of God into images, into forms, and then the slow return back to the sovereignty of self, which is tasted to be sweeter eventually than the artificial sweetness of the objects, because both taste sweet to an innocent mind, right? So someone that grows up in a schooling system that's told, well, because all they want is happiness and they're fed a certain belief system, you're going to taste the both. And at the start, there's not too much difference because a lot of people spend a lot of time alone. A lot of people get money. The first bit of money you get is, amazing. You get so much freedom because all we want is freedom. But then the sensitivity to saying, well, what's becoming sour and what's staying sweet? Because yourself never loses sweetness. Like it can't, because if anything, the sweetness that comes from the freedom in money is really the freedom in yourself. And that seems to enable it. So it's always a case of going out with your flag, like you say, where am I gaining? Where are we projecting our source? Is it coming from myself or is it coming back to me from my objects? And then we realize, oh, it's always coming out from me. And you can either use the objects as who you are or just as a reflection of where you're really always drinking from, which is ungraspable. And I really like the word really quickly is ungraspable because the fantasy is of a stagnant freedom.